I should just say Assad has been on this show. We went to Damascus and he said there are going to be elections this year. Presumably there can be no elections while the European Union, well, I don't know, are they committing murder by these sanctions on Syrian people? And the United States continues to threaten Syria and Israel bombs Damascus as it has in the past 72 hours?
Yes, I mean, we do have an extraordinary bad situation with Turkey sponsoring jihadists in Idlib. There may be 2 or 3 million people under the control of Al-Qaeda, of head choppers, if you like, of that ilk. I mean, they're not very pleasant people at all. And then you have on the northeastern side, Turkey supporting a Kurdish and America supporting a sort of Kurdish autonomy. And then you have the rest of the population, most of the urban population. But I think there will be elections held where it's possible to be held, and they will be held in embassies outside of Syria for those that are refugees, if they're allowed to be. I mean, when they held elections before, I think 2018 or something, and in Lebanon, there were queues of Syrians voting at the embassy in Beirut. I don't know whether Lebanon will allow them to do that again. I don't know whether they'll be allowed to hold it in other places. It'll be a very imperfect election. And of course, people will view it with very different lenses. And others will say it's a farce and a nonsense. And others will say, let's see how it goes, and let's look at the sort of turnout that took place within Syria and the turnout and who they voted for outside of Syria.
Yeah, he said there will be
hotly disputed. No one will accept it at all, of course.
I mean, the president told me there will be multiple candidates, and of course Lebanese political parties are under sanctions as well from the European Union and Britain. Now, it's actually 75 years since the independence of Syria on Saturday. What goes through your mind about how journalists fail to see blowback after what we saw in Afghanistan, after what we saw in historically, that they don't realize the dangers of, as you call them, head choppers coming to Europe after this, what seems to be continued Brussels, London, Washington support for what could harm Brussels, London and Washington?
Well, I remember some time ago, after this broke out, going on a main channel on television in the UK. And I said, you know, what you're seeing here is a concerted attempt to, at regime change, using jihadists and using extreme Sunni radicals to bring this about. And I was told, oh, well, you know, how you're not telling me the Financial Times is wrong, that the Economist is wrong, and that the BBC is wrong when they show these videos all the time. And I said, yes, that is the case. They are wrong. Most of these videos, a lot of the videos are fake videos. There's been, and I think you've had it exposed in Britain, about the huge effort there has been to create an misinformation amongst certain institutions funded by the British Foreign Office to present Syria and Assad in the worst possible light. It's very hard. I mean, for all of your viewers, it's impossible really to get to the bottom of the truth about Syria now. It's just so muddied. The water is so muddied, the details are so muddied. It's a really indictment of the West and of all of us. I mean, what's happening, because it's the Syrian people. It's not it's not overthrown a government. It's the Syrian people who live in dire conditions and have suffered terrible infringements of every kind.